Will I be a good parent? Am I a good parent? Am I doing this right? Am I good enough? In working with parents and families, the journey really begins with us, who we are, where we've been, what our experiences are, and where we're headed. We're excited to present this conversation of the ongoing self-discovery of the people we are, the persons we are, and the great and wonderful responsibility that we hold to care and love for our young ones. Thank you for joining us in this conversation. Hi and welcome everybody. I'm Niyati Patel and I have
Hello, I am Shawn Bradbury.
and we're both here having met on our journey to help parents and serving families to be better and happier for our children and for the world. And we're just excited to start off this conversation and these videos here on YouTube to reach out to more parents and families like yourselves and others who are in the same boat as us who have been on their own journeys, because families are everywhere. We're part of a family, whether we work for it or not. Yeah, did you want to say something to that, Shawn?
No, it's very true. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just going to go in and talk about what brings me to this point in my life to work extensively with families. I started as a youngster, pretty much right after I finished school when I was starting college, and I said I'm going to do every single extracurricular there was. My school, the environment was, you had to know somebody to be somebody, but I didn't want to be in that mindset, in that mold. I had a great education, but I needed my wings. I wanted to explore, and I didn't want to be, restrained in any way. And I signed up for every little thing and everything, and most of it was volunteering for a lot of social service projects, which involved working with kids and serving the community. It was just this drive, and I kept going, and I really enjoyed it. And we worked with kids, street kids, and kids at the orphanages, taking time out to help them with their homework. I mean, there were some great organizations that were partnered with our college that I could do all that with. But I loved the diversity of that experience, and I just loved being with the kids. And I don't know where this is coming from, and this is part of where probably that's my soul work. And then I head off to do masters, and I did cultural anthropology and social studies, and I love differences, different perspectives, different culture, meeting different people. Graduate education didn't have all of this other the avenues to go out and implement these ideas. It was more about teaching and getting into like professorship and getting on a tenure track, and I couldn't identify with that. And around that time I did an internship with holistic treatments of special needs. It really spoke to me. I felt like my interest in, I also did a double major psychology as my bachelor's, so it was bringing in the aspect of neurology and culture and understanding the science of growth and expanding. So I was super excited. But that was really the starting of my journey. And since then, I've kept on going in that direction, trying to find my way. In the process, I trained in yoga. I worked extensively with families in the last 6 years with special needs, teaching holistic treatments. And then I felt I have the obligation to reach more people. And I've come around learning from aspects of the social as well as the science. And then with yoga, I'm coming in with a spiritual perspective. And I just enjoy being with people. So how could I make myself available? And that's really where that said, okay, I need to get started on my own. And I established Nimble Futures LLC. And here we are. And I met Shawn on this journey. So that's really where I came in from, and I'm so excited, Shawn, that you and I can have these conversations. Did you
No,
want
I am.
to
Yeah,
jump
I am
in?
too. And I want to say, even just hearing that, learning more about you and your journey is incredible. I mean, having that foresight, knowing what you wanted earlier in life and being open and going after it. Like you said, you went after everything, which is interesting because I didn't. So right now, even though our journeys are aligning at this point in our lives, I gotta put this down, that I did not start my journey that way. My journey was more like I was not, I didn't allow myself to truly be seen. I didn't go after a lot of things that I wanted to for multiple reasons. I'm sure if we unpack that, that's a whole episode in itself. So I'm thinking that's awesome. And that's what I want, like for my daughter. I don't want my daughter to play small like I did growing up. And these
Mm-hmm.
are just life lessons that I've realized myself. But growing up, I was always drawn to some kind of personal development or something like that was the section of the bookstore I really liked and it I was always drawn to it. When I went to college after high school, I didn't really know what I wanted, and I ended up going to a little technical school in Concord, New Hampshire. And truthfully, it was for architecture engineering. And honestly, my favorite class out of the 2 years there was a psychology class. um,
Ah,
Learning about people, learning about behaviors and things like that. So I think, in essence, it always had a calling to me, but for some reason I didn't follow it. So I'm pretty much a late bloomer as far as really what I wanted. I've had many jobs and different occupations and things like that. Kind of falling into it, unfortunately, not really going after it. But it wasn't until probably around 50 that I finally started taking risks and chances and doing the things I really wanted to do and putting myself out there, trying like improv and trying some stand up. And I was in 2 seasons of The Nutcracker as a party parent on stage. And I really enjoyed
wow.
that. I really enjoyed being up on stage and just, I don't know. So now, was I good at it? You know, it's like I was even in a production of Matilda that my daughter wanted to be in, and somebody stepped out and they needed a parent, and I hopped into that. Now, the kids were the stars of the show. My dancing, my choreography, my few lines I had to sing. It took me forever to grab that, but I love the challenge of it, and I love the community that it brought with it. Each of these little different places in my life brought different people into my life. And what I loved about it, especially like with the improv, you walk through that door, and the minute the door closes, it's okay. Like you could be silly, you could be creative, you could be all these things. And improv is all about being in the moment, working with someone else, not being the center of attention, the whole yes and type of thing, trying to just build something out of it. And that's really where I think I really found like my first true glimpse of like community, kind of like we can be in here and we can like unpack things like visually unpack things. Like I'm going to take everything out of my head and I'm going to put it in this box over here for a little bit. And we're just going to just be in the moment, which was a beautiful thing, which I've always struggled doing. So I've always wanted to help people. And it kind of led me to this place of being a life coach. And then my journey in helping and empowering middle-aged single fathers is pretty much from everything that I've learned about myself, all the things that I had to do, the tools, the resources I've had to acquire, and not even just acquire, utilize, like implement, like all this knowledge. I can read every book and listen to every podcast in the world and talk to incredible people like yourself. But if I never implement a damn thing, then it's useless. And so part of my journey in being a life coach is empowering that middle-aged single father to trust themselves and build a good rapport with themselves and set healthy boundaries for themselves, be authentic, which that's taken me a long time to be. But being in communities like this and with people like you, it's made it much easier along the journey to actually come to that conclusion.
Yeah, and yes, you've done all of your journey as a single dad, and that's incredible to arrive at yourself, and help others come to that place in themselves.
Yeah. I mean, I was with my daughter's mother for 10 years and divorced and everything. So, after that, I've had a few subsequent relationships, but her and I are just on our own now. And I am a single parent. Unfortunately, her mother did pass roughly a little over 4 years ago. So technically, I am a single parent. So it pretty much everything relies on me.
Yeah. And you know your experiences with improv, I feel that's really fascinating because you have to show up for yourself. Improv, there's no script, you know, and I think that a lot of the roles we play as kids, as parents, as teachers, a lot of times we're trying to be the good parent, the good kid, or you know, we're kind of giving out these ideas. And a lot of times we're following scripts without realizing that that goodness is already part of us. And how can we bring that out and make it shine? And so to hear your improv experience bringing you to the realization of the value of your experience as a parent, and then how you could deliver that, you know, that deep sense of peace, authenticity, worthiness to other parents, and especially dads, single dads.
Well, I found that a lot of times my biggest issue, if you will, is I just looked for answers outside myself. You know, I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust my gut instincts. I didn't have core values. I didn't have a belief and a good foundation to kind of start from. So I would kind of fall into things, whether it be sometimes relationships or work situations, because I knew somebody and it was kind of like, okay, the money's not bad. It's not a bad job. And so it was kind of like, you know, just kind of taking what the world gave you. And, you know, that's not what I want. I guess I don't want the scraps of life that someone else gives me, you know what I mean, that I kind of settle for. So, and I definitely don't want that for my daughter or anyone I care for, you know. So I think that's kind of what empowering means to, you know, empowering yourself and truly being authentic, which is a hard thing because we're worried about judgment, we're worried about isolation if we're not liked, and all of these things. But yeah, so much to unpack.
Yeah, I know it resonates with me, and I'm sure with a lot of people. You know, not only do we want this for ourselves, but we want that for every other person we know and we get in touch with. And so this is really, I think, no matter how many people put their hands into this work, there is a lot of work here.
Well, there's
Yeah.
a lot of work here first too. You know what I mean? It's
Yes.
like, you know,
And then
that's
we
even the
find,
hard thing.
but it's also a beautiful thing. And when we see the work we've done on the inside, you know, I mean, and as much as I went for things, it wasn't easy to get those things. For most of my life, I've been jobless until I
Really,
realized that
yeah.
I need to create this business. And that's been a late awakening for me, you know, like there's nothing out there for me that I can fulfill and
I
hold the
understand that.
vision, you know. At this point, we would like to invite you to look at meaningful and lasting relationships, one with yourself and then with the world around you. And we really appreciate you joining us on this journey. And we hope to continue these conversations, exploring ourselves and inviting you in to these conversations and really building a community, building a sense of family because we belong to each other and we do care about each other, and we really are those very hardworking, good willing people. And how can we live in a world that represents that?
No, I love that. I think you and I both agree. It's all about community. It's all about support and helping other people and, you know, lifting other people up. We all need to kind of pour into each other and support each other. So, no, this is beautiful. I love it.
Well, so thank you, everybody, and we'll see you around.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.